Also on the egocentrism slide, personal fables. This is a case where you can create and be whoever you want to be, whether it's true or not. You can be the all-star athlete that you're sure you're going to go D1, even though odds are you most likely will not. But this is where you see the athletes walking around with their chest pumped out. You see the next, you're going to play in the symphony in New York, and you're going to be in a Broadway play. You're going to be drafted. You're going to be the next Heisman. You're going to be whatever the case may be. You'll have personal fables, and no one's going to tell you that you're not. And it's good to have goals. It's good to have dreams. But then also that's going to start to mesh with reality. And if you have someone that has bought into their personal fable, and we've seen this, I'm sure you have, possibly in your high school graduating class, some of them that had everyone's going to be whatever the case may be, everyone's going to be a doctor, everyone's going to be, play professional sports. Then they graduate and you never see them again. You never hear anything about them again. These are some that may have been bought into their personal fable a little too much. Then reality hits, and what's your plan B? You were amazing. You were amazing at football. You were an amazing singer, all these things. But then you realize that little fishbowl you've been in, you look out and you see that sea, and you realize that now you're a little fish in a very big sea. And sometimes that's hard for adolescents as they approach young adulthood and realize that maybe that personal fable that I had now is not going to be reality. And that can be challenging for an adolescent. School and graduation rates. Performance declines during the course of schooling. So what are some of those factors? As this makes sense, right? As kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, as you go up to 12th grade as a senior, the higher you go, the more you're going to have that are going to drop out. A lot of that comes into play. Most times that there's high school dropouts or at any stage, it's in adolescence. So this is also when we mentioned the impulsivity that can lead to teenage pregnancies, dropouts. We'll hit that again here in a little bit. But teenage pregnancies, it can lead to whether it's alcohol, drugs, just making poor choices, whatever the case may be. A lot of these can lead to high school dropouts. And we know once you drop out, it's very difficult to get the momentum going again in order to graduate, which then leads to, if it was a promising adolescent with a bright future ahead and a great career goal, but impulsivity that led to a poor choice that brought about a unfavorable consequence, can be very, very difficult and lead to why we have a decline in graduation rates and an increase in high school dropouts. And international graduation rates were 24th in the U.S. And there can be differences with ethnic or racial school achievements. There can be, but not always. The thing to know here just is all the things that can lead to high school dropouts, which if it's teen pregnancy, whatever the case may be, because it just snowballs. So, okay, now the adolescent's not going to graduate high school. Now we're going to be, and it can kind of roll into, and not all the time, but it can also lead into poverty, low socioeconomic status, trying to raise a family off of that. Now we're going to spin into having issues and challenges that the kids are going to face, and it just snowballs. So adolescence is our key to capture our teens and support them through school by keeping them in school, giving them the resources that they need in order to be successful, because we know that although they are trying to work through the process to see the big picture, they are not doing so as an early adolescent. and they're trying to perfect this. So as they seek to try to pull away and have that independence, we also need to create that buffer where we have some resources available, and we have caregivers and supportive personnel that are around to provide some safe parameters and guidelines for the adolescents where they can still feel a sense of independence. School violence. There's been an overall decline in school violence, okay? But you know now what it's done? It's transitioned into virtual cyberbullying, okay? So now you're not going to get shoved down at school in the playground, maybe. I'm not playground when you're an adolescent, but you may not get even shoved down in or get into a fight as much in the locker room, whatever the case may be. Now it's more, especially for girls, it tends to be more physical for boys. Teens and adolescents are more physical, and then they're over it. But then the trend for females is, I'm going to pretend I like you to your face, and then once I get home, you better watch out. That tends to be how it is for females, female adolescents.